conversations start on the front porch and end up in the front seat of a quality pre-owned vehicle. At Ray Warner Ford, we keep it simple, honest, and local with vehicles you trust. 21 Ford Explorer Timberline 4x4, $36,990. 22 Ford Mustang Convertible EcoBoost Premium, $25,550. 22 Ford Escape SEL All-Wheel Drive, $24,950. Make the move from the porch to the driver's seat at Ray Warner Ford. Local you trust, pre-owned vehicles you can afford.
Well, good morning. Happy Friday. How's the day going so far? Just kind of getting out of bed here this morning, getting your cup of coffee, do a nice little stretch this morning. Back. Oh, we almost made it to the weekend. Almost. Who's ready for the extreme heat next week? Any takers? Any takers? We've already been here, right? We've already had heat advisories earlier this season. It's been incredibly hot. Yesterday, we made it into the 90s. We'll talk about that, but we're sitting now at 30 days. 30 days. So speaking of yesterday, we'll highlight that first things first. 91 degrees was the high temperature yesterday in the Knoxville area. 92 in Chattanooga, 89 Tri-Cities, and 86 in Crossville. So again, that makes 30 days not in a row, but 30 days so far this year of 90 degrees or hotter. And if this forecast holds, well, our average is 34 days of 90 degrees or hotter. So we could be pushing 37 days by the end of this 7-day forecast. It's going to be incredibly hot. And if you have kids that are in practices or band or football or whatnot, if you haven't seen it by now, I'm going to be talking about the wet bulb globe temperature, how the body feels when you're practicing, the excessive heat and the stress that heat can actually play on your body. But we'll take you outside first now and show you a beautiful sunrise. You saw this at the very beginning, but a gorgeous sunrise taking shape. A few mid-level clouds hanging out with us this morning. Nice glow of the sun off in the distance, and that should cast a nice color on those clouds here first thing this morning. So grab your cameras and let me know what that looks like from your area, your views here this morning. By the way, good morning, Julie, Dwayne. We've got Lisa, Katrina, Miranda, Brian, Christy, all joining us here on the chat this morning. I met somebody yesterday at the store, and he was like, "Hey, what's up, Witcher?" And I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he said, "Hey, I watch you every morning." I said, "Awesome. Where do you watch?" He watches on the app. So for those of you that are joining and watching on the app this morning, good morning. I know you can't chime into the conversation per se, but if you want to come over to Facebook, but if you want to stay on the app, that's great too. All right, so your radar recap over the last 3 hours. High pressure is the name of the game. Let me show you what it looks like throughout the day today. We've got a little piece of energy. I got to go back to the other map here. Let's go back to that here for a second. So nothing to show you anyways, but your mid-level energy and spin. We've got a little piece of energy that's going to slide its way into the area. And that little piece of energy is going to bring us a chance for a few pop-up showers and thunderstorms. While we do have some unstable air, some buoyancy in the atmosphere, we don't really have a major system to kick off a ton of storms. However, we do have a lot of, remember we talked about PWATS, right? The precipitable water, and the precipitable waters are pushing about 2 today. That means that any of the storms that do fire are going to put down locally heavy rainfall. So a few scattered afternoon showers and storms today, mainly across the higher elevations, but can't rule out some in the valley. I'll show you the future cast here in a moment. Less rain coverage as we get into the weekend. I think the higher elevation is probably the best bet anyways, both Saturday and Sunday. And then a heat wave. We're talking excessive heat next week. Low rain chances as we get into next week as this ridge of high pressure dominates the weather pattern. So your forecast storm energy, this is the buoyancy. It's also known as CAPE, convective available potential energy. And so we do have some energy in the atmosphere, but I want you to notice the locations of the darker shades of yellows and oranges and the darker greens. Those are the locations that will likely have the best chance for seeing some afternoon showers and storms. So let me show you the future cast. From now through noon, we're doing great. Let's go back to that here for a second. Let's get back to that. Where did you go? All right, here's your future cast model. All right, so from now through... Why is that not playing through? Let's try that one more time. There it goes. I pushed the button. I was getting trigger happy there. All right, so from now through noon, no big deal. Nothing going on. But by lunchtime, we may start to see a few showers and storms fire across the mountains. So if you are going to be, if you're joining us from the mountain counties, you will get the storms first. As we go from noon to 3, some of those are going to really develop and start to try to push their way northward because remember I said we had a disturbance sliding in from south to north. And so that's going to help to push everything a little bit further to the north. But I think the plateau of the mountains and the valley will start to see a few showers and storms. So this model forecast painting a picture for places like Campbell County, Fentress, Scott County, even Knox and Jefferson County with the mountain counties seeing a little bit of rain. Is this going to be the exact location? No, not necessarily the case, but that gives us a good idea. So I think today we'll have a little bit better coverage of a few more showers and storms than what we will experience as we get into our Saturday and Sunday. Morning temperature, start off in the 70s. We're going to climb back into the 90s. Heat index value back close to 100 degrees, so no major changes there. And then lows tonight drop down into the, where'd my other map go? Into the 70s. So as we look ahead at your Saturday, 70s, 90s for highs, heat index values back close to 100 degrees. This is the map I was trying to show you. I kind of got ahead of myself. Anyways, this is come on, clicker. Come on, clicker. Why aren't you going? There it goes. All right, so this is actually for today. I kind of got out of order on my maps there. But this is the wet bulb globe temperature. So this takes into account temperature, humidity, wind speed, and solar radiation. And it's the heat stress on our body. So upper 80 is not bad. I'll explain more on this coming up here in a second, because as I show you next week, you're really going to get a good idea of, whoa, that is excessive. And we showed this to you earlier this season, but now that kids are getting back to practices, the TSSAA uses the wet bulb globe temperature to make sure the kids are safe during practices. How many breaks do they need? And again, I'll explain more here in a second. So Saturday's Futurecast, again, much more the same like today, less coverage of rainfall, and I think the best location for storms on Saturday and Sunday will be across the mountains. Can some of those drift their way into the valley? Sure. Absolutely they can. But are we going to get a ton of rain? No. Does everybody get it? Absolutely not. So just a little bit of elevated coverage today. Between today and tomorrow, we have a few showers and a few thunderstorms. So make sure you track it with the interactive radar, the East Tennessee Weather app. You can scan that QR code in the bottom right-hand side of the screen. High Saturday and Sunday will be in the low to mid-90s. That heat index value is going to be pushing close to 100 both days. But a pattern change? Well, yes, maybe. So this big ridge of high pressure in the upper parts of the atmosphere, we're taking a look at our jet stream now. Our jet stream's up into Canada, way up into Canada. Ridge of high pressure builds in and retrogrades. It moves its way from east to west all the way through, say, Wednesday. By Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, notice a trough is starting or trying to dig its way into the southeastern U.S. The main parts of the jet stream are going to be across parts of New York and New England and the mid-Atlantic. But how much of that can it dip down into our area really depends on how the forecast plays out in the extended. Do we see a little bit of a cool down? Do we see some drier air? Do we see elevated rain chances because that northwesterly flow gives us a few more disturbances to kind of pop in from the north and drop and give us a better chance for rain? There's some unknowns there, but what we do know is as that ridge builds on in, it is going to be excessive, and it's going to bring our heat index values pushing close, if not over, heat advisory criteria. Like I said, we've already been here so far this season. So we know there's going to be a lot of heat. Now, rain chances are going to be minimal at best, 20-30% chance of rain over the next several days. Not a big rain maker on the way. And really over the 7-day stretch, we're not talking about a ton of rain either. Maybe a quarter. We'll see more rain across the mountains and the plateau, which is typical. The higher elevations get a little bit more rain. All right, so here's your 7-day forecast as we highlight that in more detail. Low to mid and warming into the upper 90s as we get into next week. So there's that excessive heat. Minimal chances for rain over the next 7 days, so don't expect a lot of rain in the forecast. But let's bring you back to this map here. Now we're showing you that wet bulb globe temperature, the heat stress, if you will, on the body as we get into the start of next week. So today, tomorrow, and Sunday will be very similar. And then we get into our Monday, Tuesday, and watch how the excessive heat builds. Now, again, this measures temperature, humidity, wind speed, and solar radiation. Tuesday is going to build and be a little bit more of a higher number when we're talking about that wet bulb globe temperature. And so that's more stress in the body. So when you look at, and then that's going to be the story even on into our Wednesday, although Wednesday should tone down just a little bit, with Tuesday likely to be the hottest day and the most dangerous day for any of the kids going to be out practicing any of the sports. So let's take a look at those rules from the TSSAA. This is their heat policy. I've highlighted the two different categories that we will likely be in. That would be anywhere from 87 to 89.9, or a heat index value of 95 to 100. Max practice time is going to be 2 hours with 4 breaks each hour. But some locations will likely be in the next category down with a wet bulb globe temperature of 90 to 92. That gives us, or a heat index value of 100 to 104. We're likely to be there, if not even hotter than that. And so max practice time would be about 1 hour with 4 breaks within that hour. And if our heat index value gets above 104, i.e. we have heat advisories, practices will be canceled or moved indoors. So those are the rules from the TSSAA, and we're likely to be in those categories Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So coaches and parents, think about that. And if you have kids and you're a coach for even the younger kids after we get into the afternoon and evening hours, of course, this is during peak heating, right? We're talking about 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. If you have practices at around 6 o'clock at night, we likely won't be dealing with that excessive heat. But if you've got younger kids, of course, you want to make sure that they take extra breaks and drink extra water. This weather pattern is going to start to fade a little bit by the end of the month. And look at this. So the Climate Prediction Center is predicting that trough to kind of dig its way in a little bit more, meaning we could potentially see below average temperatures as we get into the first week of August. So we'll see how it all plays out. But all in all, we know it's going to be hot. We're talking about, we're talking about 30, so 30, 37, 90-degree temperature days or hotter by the end of the 7-day stretch, and maybe even beyond that. So we're going to be above average when it comes to 90-degree temperatures or even hotter with excessive heat expected next week. All right, good morning, Portia. How are you this morning? I don't want to wish my life away, but I sure wish it was October. Have a great weekend as well. I think a lot of us are going to be really thankful once it gets into the fall months, once we start to get some of those fallish kind of cold fronts to come on through to dry the air out, to cool us down, give us a little bit more of a crisp night. This excessive heat just wears and tears on you. You know, anytime you're out in the heat all day long, if you have events, if you have practices or soccer games, or if you're traveling and or you work outside, I mean, you know that this heat just wears on you. It makes you tired. Sometimes it makes you cranky. We don't want that to happen, but sometimes that happens, right? We're only human. But if you do work outside, keep in mind, you need to be taking extra breaks. So we're not just talking about sports as well, even though that's a TSSAA. If you work outside next week, something to kind of keep in mind. Good morning, Cameron. How are you this morning? Good morning from the best bus driver in Knox County. That's right, my friend. One of the best for sure. Started my school schedule. Was nice sleeping in, but ready for school on the 6th. There we go, buddy. There we go. All right, let's see. All right, let's move right along, shall we? We've got a lot of national holidays. I glanced at them this morning. A lot of national holidays to talk about this morning. We'll show you another great view. We'll take you down to Monroe County here before we switch gears. And how about this sunrise? Got an airplane, got his headlights on, got his taillights on, all of his nav lights right there on the screen. He's getting ready to take off. If I see him take off, we'll take that camera live so we can all watch him together. How about that? That sound like a plan? Sounds like a plan to me. All right, of course, we're celebrating birthdays and events. Any birthdays out there, give us a big shout out here this morning. It is National Wine and Cheese Day. And I've not seen Erin on the chat here this morning yet, but this seems like this is right up her alley. So, Erin, if you're joining us and you haven't joined in, happy Wine and Cheese Day to you. See, I get to know you all over the years. The more you tell me, the more I remember, the more I know. And it's nice to know a lot about you. It's National Hire a Veteran Day. I'll give a big shout out to that. Get those veterans a job. Great day for that. All right, it's National Hot Fudge Sundae Day. Some of you might like that. Some of you, maybe not. Depending on where you stand with hot fudge sundaes. I'm not going to eat a hot fudge sundae. As many of you know, I'm not a huge fan of chocolate. Well, like just the solid chocolate. Kind of changed my gear. My taste buds have changed a little bit over the years. I do like a little bit of chocolate, but not like a chocolate cake or chocolate fudge sundaes. Not so much for me. Good morning, Linda. How are you? I sure hope you have a great day as well. All right, it's National Merry-Go-Round Day. When's the last time you were on a merry-go-round? See if I can get the words out. Last time I was probably on a merry-go-round was at the Knoxville Zoo. They had a nice merry-go-round. I think that was for either Boo at the Zoo or something like that. It's National Thread the Needle Day. Anybody threading the needle at all? Maybe you're looking to do some of that this weekend. Felicia does, but I think she does everything with her hands. Maybe she makes all those her little stuffed animals. I mean, not that small of a needle and whatnot. She uses the big ones, big stuff. But anyways, good morning, Margaret. How are you this morning? It's National Get Gnarly Day. Get gnarly, yeah. Let's see what that's about. National Get Gnarly Day. The last Friday in July provides us an opportunity to embrace new ideas and toss out the old ones on National Get Gnarly Day. Much like surfers challenging the waves, Get Gnarly Day challenges us to put some gnarliness into everything we do. The word gnarly, by the way, seems to have originated from the 1960s by surfers as a description of waves while surfing. Gnarly and rad and all those 60s to 80s, 90s terms. All right, that guy, where'd that guy go? Is he taxiing off? I was trying to see if I could see him taxiing off. We'll see if we can't catch him in mid-flight. All right, it's National Talk in an Elevator Day. Do you like to talk to people in the elevator? I absolutely do. But sometimes I do it to make people feel uncomfortable. Here's one thing to do. If you ever get in an elevator, you know how everybody gets in, turns around, and stares at the door? Everyone's pretty quiet. It's close, tight spaces. Can be awkward. Can be very awkward. You want to make things even more awkward? Get into an elevator and just stare at everybody. Keep your back to the door. And start talking to them. Well, today is National Talk in an Elevator Day. So today is a day to do that. Talk to somebody. Get to know people. Maybe that's not your style. It is definitely my style. I could talk to anybody. I could talk to a wall. If you weren't chatting back with me this morning, I'd feel like I was talking to a wall every day. All right, it's National System Administrator National System Administrator Appreciation Day. We appreciate you, all of the system administrators, something like that. All right, those are your national holidays for the day today. I got a couple of photos to share with you. Before we do that, though, we'll take it back outside. I don't know where that plane went. I don't see the taxi lights anywhere, but we're going to try to watch for him, see if we can't catch him in mid-flight. So keep your eyes on this camera. We'll just leave that up right there. I got one great photo to share with you. This is coming in from a great Witcher weather watcher. And a great view of Tellico Lake in Von Orr. This is sent in by Dwayne Foister. Dwayne Foister is a great photographer, and is that not just a beaut? Absolutely great shot. And I believe that is the only Witcher's pictures I have to share with you this morning. I believe that is it. There were none others on the Witcher's pic. Oh, there is one. There we go. This is coming in from Vicky Cooper. Good morning from Johnson City, she says. Now that is a beautiful shot there, Vicky. Gorgeous sunrise taking shape this morning. Don't forget, you can always submit your photos through Witcher's Pictures using the East Tennessee Weather app. It's a great thing to do to share your views from wherever you may be, whether you're camping or doing some adventures. Joanne talks to people everywhere. Good for you, Joanne. Me too. I say hi to everybody. You talked to my wife in an elevator more than once. Nice. Where's that, Margaret? Good morning, by the way. Cheryl likes hot Sunday fudges. Hot fudge Sundays, hot Sunday fudges. No. There we go. That's what I was looking for. I should probably label these things. I'm still waiting for that guy to take off, but I don't see that he's going to be taking off anytime soon. Wonder if he's taking off to the south. We'll see. He's tucked back behind those trees. Going to be watching for him. Hopefully we can get him. Maybe we can capture him at the end as we wrap things up here this morning. Because, my friends, it is 6:20, and that is all we have to talk about this morning. Excessive heat. We'll see a few showers and thunderstorms, so watch for those. Don't forget to scan that QR code. If you're joining me on Facebook this morning and you do not have the East Tennessee Weather app, either scan the QR code, which is hard if you're on Facebook unless you're on a laptop, or just go to your app store and search East Tennessee Weather. Log on to easttnweather.com. Great areas to do that because you'll be able to navigate those afternoon showers and thunderstorms throughout the day today Most of us won't get any rainfall tomorrow or Saturday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe not even much Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday of next week. So a relatively dry weather pattern is on the way yet again. And add that to excessive heat, and that's going to be toasty roasty. Park West and UT, nice. So what do you do, Margaret? Are you a nurse? Are you a travel nurse if you're both at Park West and UT? Because she travels to both of those hospitals as well. I sure hope you have a great day, Katrina. Still looking for that airplane. Guess he's not going to take off. Anyways, my friends. So Wake Up with Witcher starts off at 8 o'clock in the morning if you want to join me both Saturday and Sunday. Otherwise, it's a good morning for a cup of iced coffee. That's what I had this morning. Iced coffee this morning. And it's rather refreshing. Julie, I hope you have a good weekend as well. All right, see you tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. See you Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. And, of course, we'll get back to it on Monday morning at 6 o'clock. And we'll be talking about that excessive heat. If you are going to be out and about, just kind of use that heat safety. Practice heat safety. And as we get into the next week, we'll talk about it. Don't forget to check on your neighbors. Take care of your pets. It's not that we're not acclimated to this heat. We are. It's the end of summer, not the beginning of summer. So it's a little bit different than it was just a couple of months ago. All right, my friends, enjoy your Friday. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you tomorrow. Be safe, be kind to each other. Life is short.